Welcome to Chinese Makes Sense video number 4. This video will talk about Pinyin basics. So what is Pinyin? Pinyin is a system that uses English alphabets to tell the pronunciation of Chinese characters. For example, you already know the famous basketball player Yao Ming, but by just looking at the characters, you might not know the pronunciation. Then if you look at the Pinyin and the tone marks, you can figure out that the pronunciation is Yao Ming. So within Pinyin, the first character is Pin. Pin means to put together or connect. And Yin means sound. So Pinyin means pretty much connect the sound. The pinyin of Pinyin is Pinyin. Why do we use Pinyin? Pinyin helps you learn the pronunciation of Chinese characters. The same idea is used in English. For English dictionaries, if you look at a word, there are symbols next to it telling you the pronunciation. If you look at Chinese dictionaries, instead of having symbols, you have Pinyin. Pinyin is used by both native Chinese speakers and foreigners. Who invented Pinyin? Somebody started romanization of Chinese back in the 17th century. Also, something named Wei Jiao's developed in the 19th century was a widely used Chinese romanization system. Unless it is otherwise noted, Pinyin generally refers to Hanyu Pinyin, which was developed in the 1950s in mainland China. Here is a table for major Pinyin systems. The first one is Hanyu Pinyin. It is used in mainland China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Singapore. It is designed for native Chinese speakers. The second one is Wei Jiao's. It is generally used in Hong Kong and Taiwan. It is designed for foreigners who want to approximate the pronunciation of Chinese characters. Third is Cantonese Pinyin. It is used in Hong Kong, designed for native Cantonese speakers. Cantonese is a dialect within Chinese. They use mostly the same characters, but with different pronunciations. Finally is Zhuyin. It is used in Taiwan and is designed for native Chinese speakers. However, none of the letters in Zhuyin are English. How widely is Pinyin used? Wherever Chinese is used, Pinyin is used for pronunciation. A lot of Chinese also use Pinyin of their Chinese names as their English names. Taiwan has used many different variations of the Pinyin system, so it's a cluttered mess. Hanyu Pinyin was the official system since 2008. Tongyong Pinyin is very similar to Hanyu Pinyin and was the official system from 2002 to 2008. Zhuyin has Mandarin phonetic symbols, and Wei Jiao's is for some geographical names and personal names. Here is a relatively funny story. Chiang Kai-shek, the epic fail, related to differences between romanization systems. The Chinese leader during World War II was named Jiang Jieshi. His English name is Chiang Kai-shek, which is a combination of Wei Jiao's and Cantonese romanization. Here's the funny part. A professor translated his name to Chiang Kai-shek in her book when citing literatures in English, so Jiang Jieshi became Chiang Kai-shek. Here are the Pinyin basics, one syllable per character. Every Chinese character's pronunciation has one syllable, one initial, which is optional, one final, and one tone. For example, Ming, the initial is M, the final is Ing, and the tone is the rising tone, or the second tone, which combines to make Ming. Initials, just like the English consonants, but they removed V and added ch, sh, and j. Here is a list of initials. The red ones are the hard ones. Their sounds are not available in English. The green ones are the easy ones. They're the same as English pronunciation. The orange ones are the mediums. Like C is pronounced ts as in bats, and ZH is pronounced j as in drive. Let me tell you a secret. My dad thinks that R is pronounced the same in Chinese as it is in English, but I think they're different because in Chinese it's pronounced zh, and in English it's pronounced r. Don't tell him I said this. In most Pinyin classes, initials are taught in the following order. However, you don't have to remember this. because Chinese kids are taught 啵婆摸佛 before they know English. But since you already know it, you can use English pronunciations like b, p, and then you'll be okay. But just for your information, this is what the Chinese kids are taught.
波泼摸佛的特呢了个可和鸡七西知吃是日子次四一五。
This is what I think is the simplest way. You just say B as in boy, P as in pay, M as in May, and so on. The three difficult ones are J, Q, and X. In order to pronounce these, which all require having a flat tongue, first let's look at the curled tongue version. In this case, it's J as in bridge. Now pretend to say it, except this time flatten your tongue, and you end up with something like G. The second one is Q. Let's look at the curled tongue, which is ch as in church. Then flatten your tongue and you get chi. Finally is X. The curled tongue is sh as in shirt. Flatten your tongue and you get xi. Here is a cool guy. His name is Xin Qi Ji. When he was 22 years old, he and 50 other soldiers raided a 50,000-man rebel camp and captured the leader alive. Most Chinese people don't know that story, and what most Chinese people do know him as is a very famous poet. If you've ever heard of the Chinese search engine Baidu, the name actually comes from one of his poems. Here is a fair trade of consonants, and there are no tariffs involved. Ji, qi, and xi are not used in English, while th, and v are not used in Chinese. Warning! Do not trust Wikipedia's International Phonetic Alphabet, or the IPA, when it comes to Chinese pronunciation. For example, in Wikipedia, or whatever website that says, it claims IPA symbols, something and something else, are equivalent to Pinyin's J and Q, but that's not true at all. Here are the basic finals. A, O, I, U, U. Here is a little trick for memorizing. A as in palm, O as in walk, as in above or bud as in a British accent, E as in bee, U as in Uber, and U is not available in English. Sounds like U, which is U without the O sound. Again, here are the basic finals. A, O, I, U, U. Oh, and by the way, Chinese doesn't distinguish from short or long pronunciation. Here is a long list of derived ones. I, O, A, I, Iao, Ye, U, O, Wa, Y, Ui, Yue, An, Un, Yen, Yang, Ying, Yong, Wan, Wang, Wen, Yuan, Yin. There are 4 different tones in Chinese, as we mentioned in the second video. One goes straight, one goes up, one goes down and back up, and one goes down. Here they are. Ma, and ma. But you might ask, where do I place the tones? Well, here are the rules on where to place them. If there's an A or E, they take the tone mark. A and E never coexist in Pinyin. If it's an O or O, O takes the tone mark. Otherwise, the last vowel takes the tone mark. There is also a neutral tone. It is short, light, and de-emphasized. For example, Ni hao ma, which means how are you? In this case, ma has a neutral tone. Also, 走吧, which means let's go. And in this one, ba has the neutral tone, where it's short, light, and de-emphasized. But don't spend too much time studying it. It will become natural as you become more familiar with Chinese through our videos. There are also a few special rules, such as if the initial is Y, then Yu, and the final will be written as U, but still pronounced as Yu. We will dive deeper into those special rules when we come across them. Now for combining initials, finals, and tones. Here's an easy example for Yao Ming. For yao, Y is the initial, the final is al, and the tone is placed over A because it always goes on A or E. So combining them makes yao, and for ming, the initial is M, the final is ing, and the rising tone goes over the I because it's the only vowel, so it would be ming. Combining them makes yao ming. Here is a very hard example. 雨中的辛弃疾, which means 辛弃疾 in the rain. My dad came up with this phrase, and it's pretty funny. This phrase is very unique because it has all four tones and the neutral tone, all sounds that are not available in English, which are ji, qi, xi, and yu, and an example of a relatively hard initial zh and the final ong. Once again, it is 雨中的辛弃疾. We will also be putting this slide in some future videos just so you can get some practice on all sounds that are not available in English. How hard is it to learn Pinyin? It is not hard at all. Some people have made it intimidating, and don't listen to them. One time, my dad saw this guy who had a Pinyin lesson series video number 30. That means he's made over 30 videos on learning Pinyin. Also, there are 4 neutral tones instead of 1, but native Chinese people won't agree. Also, there's a Pinyin table from Wikipedia which looks absolutely insane. In Chinese, we use both Pinyin and characters. But someone might ask, why not just use Pinyin instead of characters? Why not just get rid of characters? That's a good question because Pinyin feels like English when the pronunciation is easy. Historically, Japan, Korea, and Vietnam all used Chinese characters in certain ways, but later moved to phonograms. And if you forgot what that means, it means they carry reliable pronunciation info, but not meanings. This is the reason. For details, see video number 2, Design Decisions of Chinese. Pronunciation overloading is a main issue, and characters can carry concepts, making vocabulary much less of a problem, while Pinyin cannot carry concepts. Thank you for tuning in. Do you want to create or learn more Chinese? Please subscribe to encourage us. Chinese makes sense, because it does.